everyone, welcome back again to another exciting episode of What You Know It, the iConis podcast. Oh my gosh, year 3, thank you for tuning in. This is awesome. We love that you guys are still here with us, and we love what we do. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Barry 3D, for Deep Dark Delicious. You know it, and you can always find me at barry3d.com. Come on now. Come on, you know it, son. You know it. On my side, as always, the man, the myth, the legend. I said before, and I'll say it again. If he was a transformer, he'd be two turntables, two Technique 1200s, and a subwoofer making you dance. Forget Soundwave. It's all about the one and only
Rod C. Good day, good afternoon, good morning to you, wherever you may be. Welcome to another episode of the iConis podcast.
Yes, and we will jump right into things. So, first of all, Rod, where can they find you on the regular, man? Where can they find you?
Well, you see, on the World Wide Web, you can find me at Instagram at Mr. Rod C. So MRRODC. You can find me on twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. And you can find me on the World of the Tick and the Talk at DJ Rod C1. DJ Rod C1. The number one.
One.
Want to go with that?
Yeah, works, man.
And that's where you can find me. So, Barry, where are we going to find you, man? Where would they find you?
As I said before, man, we'll say it again. You can find me on barry3d.com. That's where I post everything that I do, right? So anything, including this show and when I do my stand-up comedy. So please check my tour dates. We just this show should be coming out just before. Yes, this show is coming out just before we're at Levity in Hamilton, Ontario on October 6th and 7th. Please come on down. The show starts at 8 o'clock. And this could be myself. So I sometimes roll solo and sometimes I don't. But this time I'm rolling with a touch of gray matter. So those are the comedy troupe I'm a part of. So that's myself, Dave Sokolowski, and Zolf Ali. We will be there at Levity on October 6th, October 7th. It's a doubleheader. Come on out one of those nights here in Hamilton, Ontario, and let's get nuts. Let's get crazy. Woohoo! Woohoo! Absolutely, man. On top of that, too, we also got to support the books. So please, if you got a loan and you want to buy some comic books, you got to head out to Kitchener and check out Wild Comics. These guys that's the place I like to hang the most when I'm here in Ontario. And that's Wes, Ramon, Sydney, and Chris. You go and tell them that you heard, let them know that you heard about them here on the iConis podcast. They'll greatly appreciate it and they'll hook you up. Don't worry about that. They got you covered. And for our friends out in Montreal, please go and check out Chex Wings. That's the other comic book store I'm at when I'm in town, and that's on the South Shore. And you got to go and see Trevor, Dom, Pierre, and Pierre. Tell them you heard about them on the iConis podcast and said hi. They'll treat you well, especially if it's the first time you want to jump in and get some books. Along with that, we have our friend Miss Brandy Ford, who has a radio station. I got my cliff notes. I got a radio station, which is on 4680q.com. So look for her every Monday and Wednesday at 2 o'clock and Saturdays at noon. And she also has her magazine that's been coming out. It was a little bit delayed, but it's on its way. The Writer and the Wit. The link is down below. Okay. And of course, if you want to do what we're doing, we use Podbean. So we put our stuff there on iconis.podbean.com. If you want to make your own podcast on any subject you want, any type of material, that's the way to go. I think it's one of the better ones to use. It's been very user-friendly and done well for us. So if you want to do something along those lines, that's where to go. And with that, if you're starting a podcast, starting a YouTube channel, you got something from serious to whimsical that you want to do and you need a graphic designer, there's only one man and one man to see about that only. And who is that man, Rod?
J Bird Digital Art.
Mr. Jason Reese, J Bird Digital Arts. You reach out to him, you tell him you heard about him on the iConis podcast, and he will give you a discount on the work that you need to get done. Now, let me just put something out there for my friends. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. Electronic. Reach out to Jason. Doesn't matter if you're in the US. Doesn't matter if you're over in the UK. Doesn't matter if you're in France. He is worldwide, and if you want it, you'll get it. He's got it hooked up. He's done a whole lot of stuff for other artists, for other podcasters, comedians, and wrestlers all across North America, and his scope is expanding even more. The only thing that limits him is you not reaching out to him. So you reach out to him. Said, heard about him on the iConis podcast. He'd be like, oh, awesome. Tell the fellas I said hi. What do you need to get done? I'll give you a discount. Okay.
There you go.
Simple as that. Simple as that. Right? I don't think there's much more we can say, but like, subscribe, share, and review. Please, and turn on your notifications. Let it know that every Tuesday we drop our videos, 10 o'clock our time here in Toronto on YouTube and 10 o'clock on all podcast sites. So however you want to support, it's there. Woo! Perfect. All right. Feel good. Feel good. Feel good. Now, we're kicking off the month of October, and sometimes we got to feel like we do some work. And this time that work, it comes down to the theme of spooky. You know, it's all about ghouls and goblins and candy and tricks and treats and the whole 9 yards. And there's only one thing to do. We're going to kick this off, right? We're going to do our theme. So our theme for the month of October is going to be all about a little bit of the spooky, right? The freaky deaky. What's going on? I know Rod's dying because I said freaky deaky, and
yeah, exactly. You know, like I'm saying,
different
feel like Peter
cool.
Griffin. Freaky deaky. Ay.
Yeah. So, being said, we're just going to jump right into it. Today on the iConis podcast, the icon is
Blue Devil.
Blue Devil.
Blue Devil?
What? He's blue. I'm blue. Oh, yes, he is, my friend. Yes, he is. So we're talking about Blue Devil by DC Comics, and he made his first appearance in June of 1984.
Mm-hmm.
Good month.
I know you're going there.
That's right. June, the sign of the Gemini. Oh, that's right, me. Okay, here we go. So he made his first appearance in Fury of Firestorm, issue number 24 in June of 1984. And then he turned around and got his own comic book quickly after that ran for 31 issues. So he got his own comic book, as I said, Blue Devil, once again in June of 1984. And that ran for 31 issues along with one annual. Now, he had also a lot of crossover appearances, and talk about Blue Devil today. So that's how it comes across. He was created by multiple people. So the character was created by, and we mean the names, I'm going to do my best, right? So Dan Miskin created the character. Gary Cohen was the character of the visual, and Paris Cullins was the belt design. I got a joke about a belt. That's going to see me on October 6th and 7th at Levity. All right, cool. And trust me, it's funny. And so that's awesome. That you had three people, and even one person is like, "Hey, I did the belt."
Yeah, give me something to do. You can do the belt. Cool, and ran off with that.
Yeah. Hey, look, design. You know what? Sometimes you just got to kind of pass on the team, right? Look at my man Checo. For my F1 fans, for this race that happened over in Japan, just Red Bull and F1 Racing won the constructors champion. Max Verstappen came in first. Checo had a DNF. He did not finish, but they still won the constructors champion. And you see, Checo Perez, Verstappen, and Christian Horner all up there like, hey, we're the champions. But the man didn't finish. You see what I mean? That's like he just did the belt design. He just showed up and it's like, hey, I did the belt design. See what I mean? I was just there. Glad to be included. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Here we go. So a lot of this happened, I said, back in 1984, and this is when this character came to life. So the character's the character's name is Daniel Patrick Cassidy. So that's his full name, right? He goes by Dan Cassidy, not related to the other Cassidy from the Partridge Family. No relation. I couldn't find anything like that. And he was on different teams when he started off. So he was, not from early on, but later on in his career, and this is more of some of the crossovers. He was on the Shadow Pact. He was on Justice League of America, the Sentinels of Magic, Justice League Dark, and Justice League, which makes a lot of sense. So here's the thing with Dan. Dan's got a lot of powers, and I'll go through the powers, and we'll say, okay, here we go. So Dan had superhuman strength, durability, agility, and senses, enhanced vision and hearing. Oh my gosh, what is he, Daredevil? Master martial artist and hand-to-hand combatant, expert acrobat, nigh invulnerability. Sounds like the Tick. Okay. Hearing factor utilizes Trident of Lucifer. Oh, yeah, he does. And can find demons on Earth and banish them to hell. That shall not pass. All right, they're Gandalf.
The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. That's all it is.
Absolutely. This is funny, man. This is yeah. So as I said, from June 1984 to 1986, and that's how it goes down. So the whole thing with this character is he started off, and I don't. I want I want to like him, and it's very rare you hear me say this. I want to like him. I like the character, but I found him a little bit one dimensional, one sided. There was like there was no meat on the bone. It was slim pickings.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, that's every time you I like this character. I like this character. This one I like the character, but the storylines were slim pickings. And what I mean is, for myself personally, I found that he started off, and I don't know if he was supposed to be a comedic character or serious character and being like
Right.
whimsical like Spider-Man. And sometimes it landed, sometimes it missed. And then, they changed the art style, like I think in issue 6 or 7. And the writing team kind of seemed to change. So it was a big question mark. And you could tell they were pushing the character hard
Right.
because of some of the crossovers he had early on in his series.
Right.
You know, well, what was your overall feel about this before we break some of
You
this
know
down,
what?
Rod?
It's again, everyone. We don't have these type of conversations beforehand. We kind of just say this just straight live. And yeah, I felt that like I'm reading the first couple of episodes, the issues, and I'm like, okay, cool. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of flipping around, and just a lot of pages doing that. It's like, okay, give me something else. All right, skip ahead. Same scenario. Same scenario. And I'm like, okay, he is. It's funny. Like, I think I did think of Spider-Man for half a second in the sense of the comical
Right.
part because he puts jabs. So he's fighting an individual, whatever the case to be, and now he's just putting like little jabs, like uh radioactive. Maybe like his first person that he was fighting is like in a silver, like basically in a silver Iron Man suit.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
call it like that. And he's like, hey shiny, and oh, you missed this, and it's like, okay, you're being funny jokes kind of scenario, but nothing to pull off of that. So I don't know what the direction of the team or DC was trying to do with him, what they wanted to do. But you hit it on. I didn't even think it from that aspect, but you saw that he was connected with Superman very early.
Yeah, well,
Then
yeah,
Elongated Man, then Zatanna.
yeah,
This was like within the first 3-4 issues.
yeah,
It was like, we're just trying to put you together with the Justice League, put some familiar name. So yeah, it was interesting, but it just seemed like they probably realized that he needed to tag on the stream of a couple of bigger players. Again, didn't even do like Batman, to my immediate knowledge,
no,
or Wonder Woman. You got Superman. Everybody knows Superman.
yeah.
Now you were
Wonder
going.
Woman actually was there. She came in later on,
You see,
like only for a couple of pages. It was weird. So, yeah, I get what you're saying, man. It
yeah,
was,
I wasn't so enthralled into it as much as I was. I've known of. I'll just say for me, I've known of Blue Devil. You've seen him in a couple of other stuff. His IP was in other places like over the last few years. Like Young Justice, and we'll get into that as well and stuff along that line. Justice League Unlimited. So that definitely was the first to me would have been, as I can see, it is. But that was Blue Devil's there, cool. But that was it. Nothing really.
yeah. I think
So
later on he gets into his own world. Like later on, he like when he
they build
crosses over
into
with
it.
other writers, they do him more justice. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's it. When in his own series, it was like, okay, so look, we'll get into some of it, right? So in his origin, issue number 1, here he goes, comes across, and you
Mm,
realize, okay, his name's Dan Cassidy, and it opens up almost like a movie, which makes sense for what they're trying to do. So that I totally get. You
right.
open up the first page, you see these people running, and it's like, oh, we're on the island of the devil. Oh my gosh, we could capture him. I thought you said the technology would be able to hold him, and it's like, oh, the devil's chasing us. Throw this net on him. Oh my god, he's breaking free, and it's like, oh, no one captured. You can capture me, but you can't hold me. The devil is free. Okay, and you hear cut.
Cut.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
What?
So right away, within 2 pages, you realize
Oh,
it
okay.
is a movie set, and this is something they were trying to do. So it's almost like King Kong going to like Monster Island, filming that,
Hmm.
um, And sorry, I'm looking at my screen here. It's gonna throw me off. So look, Monster Island. You're doing that. Uh, and that's how he starts. That's his basic intro into everybody and what's happening there with him.
Mm-hmm.
When that now comes about, you see he talks to the director, he talks to the main person that's filming, and you realize that he's a guy inside of a suit. He's inside of a suit that makes him taller, but he built this suit himself by scratch. So it's a exoskeleton with servers and the whole 9 yards. We all know what exoskeleton is. We're in the world of comic books. We heard about it before. So pretty much he's in battle armor, but it looks like a devil suit. So it's blue. He's got a costume. He's got horns on it, ears, eye slots, the whole thing, special effects. But
Yeah.
instead of making special effects, he made this suit. And they turn around like, hey, can the suit lift up, boulder for one of the scenes? And he's like, oh, yeah, I got the strength of 20 men plus. And he lifts up the boulder. But you see him take off the helmet. Or sorry, I should say the mask, not the helmet, the mask. He takes off the mask. You see his real face in that opening sequence. You're like, okay, cool. And then there's another kid on screen there. In the set, a younger kid, and he's like, hey man, can we hang out? You find out that his aunt is the one who's behind the movie. And he's like, oh no, go for it. I just want to hang with myself, man, for a little bit. He goes, and then right away it's the comic trope, oh man, I love this girl, but I can't tell her I love her, and now he's out with his other actor that's there.
Actor, yeah.
That's a shame. How come I can do all this cool stuff in the suit, like acrobatics and jump around and do all these fight scenes, and I'm the number one stunt man here in Hollywood, but I can't express my feelings. All right, and then flash over, you find out his love interest is now with this other guy, and his name is Wayne. And Wayne's like, let's go and check out these ruins before we film there. And Wayne sees the ruins. He's like, oh my God, they're actually bigger and scarier than I thought. Let's turn back. And then the girl's like, he's like, oh, what's her name? I think it's Sharon. And I could be wrong. She's like, oh, let's go.
Yeah, Sharon. Sharon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Sharon. So Sharon's like, oh, let's go and explore it. When you're not being chicken, ha ha ha. Inadvertently, where they're doing it's like a Tomb Raider thing. They look around. It's a real site. It's not a prop site. They're on a real island with a real site, real temple. They see all these scary things that you're using as a backdrop. And she sees this one kind of flat devil looking mask. And it's like, hey, look at this. And it's like, it looks like it'll fit in this door, like on this wall. Maybe we should put it on there. And then Wayne's like, no, don't do it. Too late. She puts it on. Door opened. Boom. Thank you for releasing the demon. I've been trapped for 6,000 years. Oh, you guys look like I can eat you. Here it comes in. So that's the beginning. So pretty much he's a stuntman / actor, inventor, because he invented the suit. No one else built it for him. The girl he likes releases a demon that's been trapped for 6,000 years. So Shannon and Wayne run back to base camp, being chased by this demon.
Yep.
And he sees it. And then, you got Marla, who's the film, I guess, producer, says, the cameras, keep them rolling. Man, you got to do something about this. What are you going to do? I'm just an actor. It's like, yeah, but you got a suit that can lift 20 plus people.
Yeah.
And if you don't do anything, people are going to die. Right? Like she has this like ulterior motive, like, okay, people are going to die. So she talks to him, manipulates in it. He puts on the mask. He goes, all right, I'm going in there to do my best to stop, get everyone off the island. And then she turns to the main cameraman. All right, keep rolling. Start filming. But we can die. No, we're going to film this footage and we're going to do reshoots and add this into the story. Trust me, this will be a blockbuster.
Yeah. I will, let me jump in on there because that's why I was saying, like, reading it felt so okay. I see the plot, I see what you're trying to do, but the actual transition from one scene, one act to the other just was so jagged, and you can clearly see this is what she wants to do. It's like, if you knew that's how she was, we should have had some kind of more introduction or something, like let us know that she's only not even say business minded. She's just like saying, I just want to get the product done. I don't care about anybody else. If she was like, you know what I mean? And you can see that when she makes that type of action, you will then say, okay, that's Marlon. That's just who she is, type of scenario. We kind of figured out as we go through what the character is. But it was very, very, hey, we're all going to die. You clearly see, I paid for the stuntman to have this exoskeleton to lift a boulder. I know who my actor is. I'm the producer. Did anybody notice about that monster? Was that in today's roster? Did we have like a golden type of talking monster? No.
Huh.
Oh, snap. This might actually be real. In real sight. I think it's time for me to go because we're not in a world we're accustomed to, per se, demons and people just, wild stuff just coming out of the woods, out of the forest, out of some very unique area and trying to, I don't know, eat me, talk and say, I like them. Oh, she's running away. Oh, they're running away. I like it when my food run away, basically in that sense. Even if I didn't hear that, you're coming out to me. I don't know what that is. Where are my keys? Hello. I'm just saying. Start rolling. Yeah, you got a one-track mind. She got a one-track mind.
One track mind. Yeah, yeah. It's like we might die, but keep the camera rolling.
Keep the camera rolling.
This is what part of his origin is. So he gets in there, he's fighting Nimbus, he's going out. Now he's got effects, and I'll say this, effects built in the costume that were supposed to be for the movie, right? Like it's, fireworks and and certain things like that. Nothing that will do any real damage. So he's got that. He's got his trident, which has like a rocket propelled thing, and that's it. But it was really more movie effects. Now, can movie effects hurt people? Yes, but this is a demon that's been locked up for 6,000 years and hungry. I know what I'm like when I'm 6 hours and hungry. So, okay,
right.
Hey, it is what it is. Calling it as it is, man. So this guy goes out there and he's fighting him because Dan is trying to stop this monster from eating the rest of the crew and killing them. They're there, and their boss is now saying, roll the camera, so they can't leave. The main actor, Wayne, is a chicken. Like, he doesn't want to do anything. He's running for his life and then stops 100%. Himself because he's like, oh, well, how would other people think about me? And I have to live with myself. So he goes back, and then he kind of helps out. He does help out, even though he's the womanizer. So issue 1, you already have a lot of characters there, right? You got Dan, who's Blue Devil. You got Wayne, who's the
the cowardly
man whore,
the cowardly lead of the movie.
Yeah, yeah. In the movie, he's brave, but in real life, he's a chicken. But he's a player. He's not a player. He just a lot. Okay. Then you got Sharon, who's another actress in the movie. Then you got Gopher, who's the nephew of Marla, who's the producer, and I can't remember the name of the guy who was filming. I think is it Norm? I think his name is Norman. I could be wrong.
He was keep going.
Yeah. So he was on the film crew. He was the one that she told to say keep rolling. So these are all the ongoing characters that have been set by issue 1 as his back characters. It's almost like if you would have read Spider-Man, and they would have introduced within issue 1 Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy, Flash Thompson, Norman Osborn, Harry Osborn, Aunt May, Uncle Ben. In issue 1, they put a lot of people.
Yeah,
the side characters, and then the mysterious boss who Marla reports to. So it was cramped.
Very.
These characters stay. They don't water them out as time or get rid of them as time goes on. They're there pretty much the bulk of the 31 issues in the annual. So at least they're there from issue 1, because I hate when writers bring in someone and then you're like, yeah, kill them off by issue 6. No, at least they all stayed there, even though there was a lot. And my point is, because there were so many at the beginning, that's a lot of stories to tell. So, clearly he defeats Nimbus. He comes up with a plan. He's fighting him with the special effects, literally, in the costume as Blue Devil. He's cracking jokes like Spider-Man would. And I would say, Dan, he's a stuntman. He knows martial arts. Okay, fine. He does all this. He's a well-rounded person. They figured out how to get Nimbus back into his dimension prison where he was kept for those 6,000 years. And when he was going in there, the plan was, Dan gets our Blue Devil, uses his trident, hits Nimbus. There we go. Nimbus pushes him into that doorway and says, close it. But then the rest of the team grab his legs and pull him back out. And the whole time now, because he looks like a devil, the other demon says, oh, you're one of me. You're a little brother. What's going on? It's like, we're demons together. Why are you fighting against me? So, the demon gets put into his dimension prison again. He holds on to the trident. They pull him out. Boom. Thank you very much. They close him in there. He's trapped. Okay. Dan's walking
Well,
away. Sorry.
yeah, no. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's one thing to say.
Yes.
There's a quite crucial part of it. Prior to when he's realizing that, hey, you're my little brother. Why are you fighting me and so forth? I need to like say, I don't want you fighting me type of scenario. So Nimbius basically was trying to use some type of one of his powers to like
Right.
deplete energy. So he hit Dan with some type of blast.
Yes.
Unfortunately, unbeknownst to Dan at that time, that did something to him. It shocked him. It just put him through some, horrendous pain and everything like that. But when you see the image of it, you see him basically being surrounded by this particular glow.
Yes.
And then we find out later on, well, basically we find out that that did something more than just hit him with a blast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A glow like the last dragon. You are the last dragon. Okay. So he gets hit with that energy. He pushes him in the dimension. He pull him out. He's talking to Sharon. He's like, "Oh, I feel weak. I got to lie down." And then she makes a comment saying, "Oh, did a really great job on that suit. Even has the suit even sweats." And Gopher's there. He's a little kid. Gopher's like 12 or something like that. He's like, "What are you talking about?" And Dan gets back to his trailer, thinks about what just happened, breathes for a moment, says, "Oh, let me get out of this suit, grab a shower." He's holding the horns and he can't take off the suit and realizes the suit is now him. He and the suit are one. He's not trapped in the suit. The suit has now replaced circuits with nerve endings. It's now replaced its exterior shell with flesh. The suit is a living, breathing thing, and he's in it. So it's a person within a living thing. It's almost like Venom.
Yeah.
The symbiote. Yeah, right. It's almost like that. And you're like, okay, cool, I get that. And now it's like, oh my God, how could I go out, and be out in public and Sharon's not going to want to be with me because I'm trapped in this suit. Okay, there we go. That's just pretty much issue 1. Yeah.
Pretty much.
And that's why things is like the issues are just so dry.
Yeah. And that's it. Like you hear in that part, like you're now trapped. You're realizing, I can't get out of this suit. Somehow it's feeling like real skin. And your first inclination or the second inclination is like, oh, Sharon's not going to like me because I'm in this suit. Guy, priorities. You should be like trying to go mentally going back. What the hell just happened? He goes through that. But the fact is that was written in that particular way. It just made me think like, okay, we know that they've got certain punchline that you're trying to hit. You're trying to hit these particular points in the show. I mean, in the book, great. But come on, that was, it felt rushed. And I think that's the reason why personally I'm like so with that. Him as a character seems to be okay, what he stands for, but the writing aspect of it wasn't really pulling me in.
Nah. And it's one of the fewer times that we were actually doing a book that we were not like, we're gonna still do it anyways, right? Obviously. And then of course we jumped to issue 2. Now that's what got me. Issue 2, right away, he's in his apartment. Like, okay. And they do a recap of, oh yeah, well, we're on the island, we left the island, we came back, issue 2, I'm in my apartment. All right. And that's when that villain shows up, the shiny armor, like I think it's Shockwave.
Shockwave.
Yeah. Right? Shockwave shows up and Shockwave is going around terrorizing. And then, Dan's on one side, Dan's back in Metropolis. And the rest of the team are down in like LA or whatever. And what gets me is like he looks outside. He's like, "Oh man, he went outside to get something." People's like, "Oh, Blue Devil! Hey, it's the guy that's supposed to be playing the Blue Devil." So people know the movie's coming out, and here he is walking in the suit. The film company gets upset and sends a letter to cease and desist wearing the suit in public because nobody told the executives that he's been merged now permanently to the costume, that he and the costume are one. Right? No one told him 100%. That. So like that's one, and he gets served with that by a lawyer, like legal papers, and that's once again from Marla. Like, okay, so she calls him and says, "Hey, I'm worried about you. How's everything going?
Yeah,
I'm really worried about you. You need us for anything, stuff like that." Okay, then she hangs up the phone, and then she's the one that sends the lawyer for the cease and desist. so make her boss happy, but she was there and knows the suit is fused with him. And then she says stupid things like, oh, well, he's Marla, I got to tell him to stop wearing the suit. Yeah, but he's attached to the suit.
Right.
Okay, just don't play innuendos. People like the execs weren't there on the island. They don't even know what happened. Clearly, you must have not even mentioned that, people got killed, like the two guards that got killed by uh, the demon.
Nimbius. Yeah.
Nimbius. He killed off two people. Obviously, that was probably a write-off. So how do you not talk about that again? It was very rushed. So he's in his apartment. Shockwave shows up. He goes up there. He's like, hey, Shockwave, stop fighting, blah, 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 blah. Shockwave turns around to the apartment and pulls down the wall of the apartment building. And Dan's first words were, no, I just bought this apartment building. I don't even have any tenants yet. So, Dan, you got money like that? You could buy a full apartment building?
Well,
He
can
build
a
apartment
suit.
building. I know it's possible, but as an actor to buy like how popular of an actor is he or not, right? Like he bought a full out, 30 unit apartment building.
Yeah, I mean, he's a stuntman actor type of scenario. That's really what he is. But the fact that, again, you're trying to hit these particular punchlines. To me, that whole conversation, to me, was irrelevant. You're trying to make it that he has a type of, close material possession to the building. Okay, great, but I personally didn't need to know that. You know what I mean? It was like the whole statement was like, oh my gosh, why do we even need to? Why do we need to know that? Are you just trying to filler? And that's how I look at it. The whole comic. It just kind of irks in the sense of you could have done better. Like the writing just could have been better. The writing just could have been better. That's all it is. The writing could have been better.
And then they start these subplots. So then you got a subplot that he starts fighting Shockwave. One of the head doctors from Star Labs shows up and says, you can't let Shockwave get away with that canister because we made a certain super type of kryptonite, and you can't let it get out there because of Superman. Yeah, that's it. Because remember, he's in Metropolis.
Right.
The story gets run. It's on live TV. They're recording the whole thing there. And then you got Superman, who was there. So Clark Kent, who was there at the Daily Planet, sitting down there, and it wasn't Perry White. So I think Clark at this point was running it.
It was a different location. It's more like, and that they catch me too. Like I don't know the deep history, but it seemed like Clark Kent is working for a TV station. It was W something, and I'm like,
oh yes,
where did this come from?
I know, like WGBS or whatever. Yes,
yeah. And that threw me off, and I'm like, okay. Is this Clark?
I remember that because that's when they made him a TV reporter at one point. Right. So he left the Daily Planet and he went over to the competition. That's why. Right. So that's a storyline that was in the Superman comic books. Right. That wasn't a what do you call it? That was a true storyline in the comic books where he was a TV reporter for a while and not just an editor or a journalist for a newspaper. So I get they put that in there. They go to see him. They say the story's going on. He flies out there as Superman, obviously, to see what. So that's now where you get your first guest appearance of a hero is Superman. And the thing is, what everyone sees most of the time when people see a new hero or fight goes out, it's always about, oh my gosh, who are you? This time it's like, hey, shoot a guy from that movie, Blue Devil. Hey, he's a new superhero. Everyone was so chill seeing a hero. They weren't even sure he was a hero. I mean, even at one point he starts a robbery. He stops a robbery, basic robbery. Some kids are trying to rob some old people at knife point. He shows up, jumps down off a 10-story building, lands. They looked at him. The old couple are like, wait a minute, are you Superman? And he was like, yeah, I'm Superman.
Yes, exactly. Hilarious.
And they believe he was Superman the whole time. And his wife was like, I don't think that was Superman. Like, okay, he's got blue skin. Superman only wears a blue outfit. So that I found funny, but as it went on, he turns around, he fights Shockwave, he gets back to Kryptonite, and then Superman finally gets there and says, hey, thanks for capturing the Kryptonite. By the way, why does Star Labs make a super Kryptonite? And you can see the doctor stumbles. She's like, well, we made it because in case of, let's say you and Supergirl are off planet and villains escape from the Phantom Zone. And Superman's like, I feel there's more to this. We'll talk later.
Right.
Right? Fair enough. Subplot. Then I think that subplot came back for one point, and then that was it. We were done. So, what are you gonna do, right? And then don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm trying to hate on the character. I'm just saying these are. If you read the book, it's very chop, 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 issue to issue. There's
Yeah.
no smooth transition within the storyline because then next thing you know, it's like issue one in Solo, issue two, it's Superman, issue three. So he flies off at the end with Superman, and issue three begins with him on the Justice League satellite. And then there's an elongated man, and he tries to arm wrestle Superman, and for jokes, which was funny in itself because we all know Superman's like super strong, obviously. He's
Right.
Superman. So, you got Superman, you got elongated man, and then Zatanna shows up in one of her other outfits. So not the fishnet outfit with the top hat. She shows up with her more superhero look, where she had the high boots, the cape, a white cape, and it was a blue and black costume and white. It's not one color scheme there. So you see Zatanna show up. She's just flirty. He's flirting with her, and she's like, I'm like, wait a minute, you Zatanna, you wouldn't make flirt the way she was flirting. It was like, I'm gonna say this. It was like men writing how they think women would react to men, to a man flirting, right? It was truly from a man's point of view, and it was like really stereotypical, you know. Okay, but which is a smart move because it was all about his like the Blue Devil letter column hits it on the head. It was called circuits and sorcery.
Right.
I think they should have gone more. We had the circuit aspect of it. Should have gone more sorcery. So I could see Zatanna being in there, her looking up the demon, find out who cursed him, how to get out of it. And then by issue 4, he's confronting that demon. And then the Justice League is somewhat there. So you got Zatanna, you got Superman, you got an elongated man, and then it's him and Zatanna. And he gets back his trident from the demon, and the demon infused it with magic. So it kind of graded it. So those are the early issues of Blue Devil.
Blue Devil.
It was always hard to read because every issue did have action. It was action, jokes, somewhat serious. I think they needed to really find their identity, saying this is going to be a whimsical character or this is going to be a serious character. And a serious character can have levity in it, or vice versa. But it was trying to do both equally at the same time instead of doing it like 70-30, whatever direction they would have gone with.
Yeah. Again, I can look from the standpoint that, let's just be straight, the elephant in the room. It's a Blue Devil. You're going to try to promote this for kids and everything like that. So they want to make it very whimsical and say, oh, he's not a bad devil. He's funny. And, and you got the levity from that. Great. But like you said, it just wasn't written. It was written more with, these are the punchlines we have to get in. And basically no bending in the sense of like, say, okay, maybe we won't say this joke. We'll merge into something else that will fit the actual situation. And it just felt like more cut and paste. Stamp this in here. I want this stamp there. So it wasn't it was a
hard sell, wasn't it?
It's a hard sell. It's a hard sell. Like I would still read this to get myself over it and then, be honest. Hope that later on the writing, it caught itself and it got itself and it got some type of footing. I will basically read it, maybe not let it like, back to back, like for the next 2 nights kind of scenario. But I'm going to read it. I'm going to catch up on it, get back to this and catch up and just say, okay, let me see. Okay, in issue 14, when I get to 14, does it seem like, the transition was better? Did they actually give the characters some type of stability, some type of life that it actually made sense why he was doing what he was doing and how he was doing XYZ?
Yeah, so, maybe. And very possibly. Now, what I'll say. I like the concept of the character, and I said this before. So I know we were talking about a lot of things we didn't like about it. Here's what I like. I like the fact that his backstory is different than most, right? He's not a reporter. He's not a scientist. He's not, not from another planet. Right? I like all that. So I like the fact that he's a hero who is an actor. The stuntman actor over. Okay,
Right.
this brings me back to, and this came out in the 80s. So back in the 80s, there was a TV show called Cover Up, right? That ran for one season until unfortunately there was a, you know, the main actor ended up dying on set. And and these are why certain gun laws were implemented on sets. And this is pre Crow, pre the whole everything else with Rust with Alec Baldwin. This is where they're putting more safety because he was playing around on set. He was playing Russian roulette, and he thought, "Oh, they're just blanks. They can't do nothing to me." And the blank still hits with the impact. So, not to get grisly about it, it's a shame. I'm not disrespecting that. But the TV show was called Cover Up. Now, in Cover Up, what it was you had one guy. He was the main guy. He was a spy, and then he would work with models. And the cover story was these models had to go around the world to shoot stuff like Victoria's Secret, Rolling Stone, catalogs or magazines. So picture something like a Victoria's Secret. And he was there as the photographer or photographer's assistant. That was the whole the cover up on this. So this is how he was able to get into other countries without raising any alarm. You get there, you see a bunch of beautiful women. You see this guy who you with. Oh, I'm the photographer. We're here to go to, in Egypt to do some filming and take pictures in front of the pyramid. Okay. You think nothing of it. Next thing you know, you don't realize this guy's a spy. So when they're now on their way to the shooting site to shoot the pictures, he deviates, does his mission to steal something, get something, put something in, make a contact, and then run back and hook up with the rest of the models and then be on set as, the assistant to the cameraman. So that was this whole premise of Cover Up, meaning that, you go everywhere. It's almost like the movie I Spy. Or even
Right.
like the original movie, the I Spy, the TV series, right? Same concept. So I Spy, the series, you had Bill Cosby. He was a tennis player, and he had and his secret agent was his manager, was really a secret agent. When Eddie Murphy redid it, once again, instead of being a tennis player, he made it more modern that he was a boxer. As a boxer, you're going to go all over the world to do exhibition matches, to do whatever kind of match. So the government's going to get behind you and say, hey, we need you to bring your manager, who was really a spy,
Right.
over to Russia. Okay. We want you to organize a boxing match in Russia. We will help fund it. All you got to do is go and you do your boxing match. Don't worry about what your manager's going to do. And that's his in. He gets on the plane, he
Right.
goes there. He's like, all right, see you later. You got 3 days till the match starts. And then you show up, and that's your cover story. So that being said, a lot of time actresses, they have to learn skills for movies, right? You have how many times you see an actor and it's like, oh, I had to learn, like, Michelle Pfeiffer, she had to learn how to use a whip in Batman Forever,
Right.
right? Or, or yeah, it was Batman or Batman Returns, or when she was playing Catwoman. She had to learn to use a whip. You have stars that have to learn boxing. Christian Bale, he had to learn Krav Maga when he played Batman. You have other stars that have, Jackie Chan and Michelle Yeoh. They had to learn how to ride a motorcycle to do certain stunts because they didn't get a stunt person. They did the stunt themselves. So him working as a stunt performer on a movie set, you can go everywhere. All you got to do is get a pass for filming. No one looks twice. Go on in. You're good to go. Right? It's an easy cover story. So this is what I like, the aspect that Blue Devil was on there as an actor, able to go anywhere he wanted to. Now I know he gets stuck in the costume because he gets cursed with it. Okay, I think he should have gone more into the occult right away. Like the circuitry and the technology, we get it. He knows that part of it. But because now the two are merged together, I think it should have done a better job of merging the two and doing a lot more with sorcery. Like I think by issue 3, they're on the right path by bringing in Zatanna. Later on they brought in Ethrigan the demon. So Zatanna, Ethrigan, they should bring in Dr. Fate, anyone along the supernatural, like him when he joined certain teams, like Justice League Dark. That makes sense to me
Right.
because he should be dealing with the occult because science is not going to get that costume off.
Mm-hmm.
Magic, or maybe a combination of both, will get that costume off for him to be totally free of it. And
Right.
he didn't seem to go that aspect with it. I think that was what was left on the table a lot. It was more him, jokey, technology, and still in the movie world, making these movies and still figuring out the rest of his cast. So that's my kind of take on that.
Yeah. I mean, you brought a good point. I mean, the levity of not having the typical character's origin story is that, traumatized or from an alien planet. That type of scenario. You have a common guy who basically who's now has who's been bestowed power. Like the like Blue Beetle. You know what I mean? Like the latest rendition of, Javi with, as Blue Beetle, having a character, an individual who's like saying, I never thought or trained or even had the mindset to be a superhero. But now this kind of stuff, responsibility is dropped on me. Okay, fine. But I don't know. Like I said, my view on it is like,
Well,
it's the right.
the elements were there. Like I said, the
It's
elements of
there.
him, the elements were there, and I just wanted him to go more into the occult. I think if he went
Yeah,
Blue Devil, I mean,
it
he's
would
called
make
Blue
sense.
Devil. He should have
It,
gone more into the occult. Like, I mean, I think that's where it started off, and I don't know where they got off track for that, in my opinion. But that's where it's going, and he's been around for a while. People make a lot of comparisons with that, So this is where my thing is. He should have started there. And here's the best way: Blue Devil should have been written exactly like the Brandon Fraser Mummy. There was action, there was levity, and there was seriousness at the same time. But it was done. It's a nice blend of it. That
got
that's
it.
that's where it should have been. Brandon Fraser, Mummy, give me that. But notice what the Mummy did. They stayed with magic. And that's where I think the strong suit should have been. And it's not the fact that he knows magic. It's like, hey, this is what happened. I've been infused with magic. It's fused me to this costume. I need magic. Get me out. I don't know, but I gotta find me some magic people. And you already got contact with Zartana. You got contact with Superman because you're in Metropolis and you've helped him out and you're in his good books with the whole kryptonite thing. You got the elongated man. So there should have been, hey guys, I'll do this with the movies, but I still need to put my life back in order. I need to start reading on magic, looking up magic. Because one thing, Marvel or DC, Image or whatever, if you start looking for magic and you're a hero looking into the magic users will find you and they will start to slowly take you down that path.
Mm-hmm,
There's
mm-hmm.
a lot of magic people out there. Some are better than others, right? Some are easier to work with. I mean, would you rather work with Santana or Constantine? So,
You know what?
so
As you say
that's how
that,
I
that's
look at it.
funny. Yeah, no, that's funny. That's funny. Would you rather work with Zantana or Constantine? And the funny thing is, those two are like a yin and yang in that sense.
Absolutely.
So you're gonna get a good dynamic between those two. It's what the problem with the scenario is again, it just comes back that we just don't know what is Blue Devil? Like what is like where would he sit? Like if what, we'll just put it as a spectrum. If you have Zantana as being not the proper, but being the magician, the sorceress that she is, she's like all proper, whatever. And then you got Constantine, who's just like, listen, by any means necessary, I'm just gonna do what I gotta do. I don't care who I insult in that sense, But that's John Constantine, and
Yep.
Zantana. Blue Devil, where are you? How are you on that spectrum? And the thing is,
Exactly.
I can't see him on the spectrum. I'm seeing him on another TVA timeline. I see him someplace else.
Well, that's it. I mean,
He's a
take
variant. He's a
classic.
variant.
Exactly. You took Booster Gold. Everyone sees Booster Gold as a joke, right? But when you read the Booster Gold series, the most recent one, you realize that even though he's kind of seen as a joke, he does things within the timeline very seriously to keep the timeline a certain way. And then he fixes it. He comes back, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's Booster," and it's like, "I just
Yeah,
fixed the time." Yeah, I can't.
right.
Okay, like Booster Gold's like a Time Lord almost, and he can never get the respect due because everything he does here is like, I mean, his first, there was like one issue where he goes back in time. He's there talking with Batman. Batman thinks he's a big joke, and then he goes through time. He ends up in Germany,
Hmm.
fixes a whole bunch of stuff, come back to the Batcave, and Batman looking at him is like, kind of like, "You're such a joke. You got to do better. You got to take things more seriously." And if you would have read that story arc, he did throughout the whole
Hmm.
thing, took things really serious. There was no
Yeah,
jokey like how it was. And but because he's not allowed to say what he did, he'll never get that recognition from his peers. So you as a reader are reading it going, "Man, I feel for you. This is what it's got to be."
hmm,
You know, uh, and these guys, like, I mean, like you can tell, like even if you look at them, one of them says like, "Hey, one day, Steve Ditko, who was one of the creators or creator of Spider-Man, was around the office, and they were both fans of him, so they kind of wanted to do their own thing, and they did like a Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and the Thing, mashup, and that's what Blue Beetle is, right?"
right.
So Blue Beetle is, and it shows like he's a bit of Doctor Strange with the magic. He's a bit of Spider-Man with the whimsical. He's a bit of the Thing with the tragic story. He's a bit of Iron Fist, the way he fights and everything like that. So they took a
Yeah,
lot of pieces, and I'm like not knocking that. I'm just saying I like that he's an actor. I like what they can do with him. I think he should have got more into the occult,
should have more.
and
Hmm.
especially back in 1984. I don't think we had enough books on proper magic within the DC universe, even though there was a lot of magic casters
Characters.
within
Yep.
and characters within the DC universe. They just never, everyone looked for the traditional hero and not for the magic heroes. Like you'd have Doctor Strange, sorry, Doctor Fate. He's on Justice
Hmm.
Society. Okay, got it. That's their magic guy. Santana, Justice League. All right, that's one. That's their team there. You had Raven from the Teen Titans. Oh, okay, well, she's the magic person on the team. There was always just one person on the team, never a team of, until more recent years. I said Justice League Dark, don't get me wrong, but I think he could have been the gateway to bringing more of those characters in, and then himself learning magic because the costume's infused with magic. It's cursed. You got your trident back, which almost acts like Thor's hammer, so it's got like part of like
Hmm.
hellfire, so you could throw it. It has bolt. It comes back when you throw it. Okay, all right. If I have stuff like that, I want to learn more about it and what powers it to see how it can aid me and then how I can separate myself from it so I can live a normal life. So
Right.
that's my 2 cents on Blue Devil. There we go.
Yeah. No. No. I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, it's just like in the words you normally say. You said in the beginning. There's this one doesn't have a lot of meat on the bone. There's not a lot that you
No,
can really that they were giving us.
but they given us,
But
and I'm talking the original run, right? We're talking the
right.
original run. He's
Yeah.
probably gotten, he's loved because they always keep bringing him back. He's a legacy character. They bring him back, so he's got his fan base, and as fans, we want something from him. It doesn't have to be a dark, moody series. I'm not saying he's a character. I'm just
Hmm.
saying he should be dealing with more magic and artifacts and da 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 da. And let
Right.
me separate from my costume. Can I?
Right.
That's the ongoing goal. Or like you said, they're I said it before, influenced by the Thing, tragic backstory, which means he probably never will be. Accept it, but just move on. So
Right.
on that, moving on.
Hmm.
And I know most people hear us, and this is the first time they're probably hearing us saying, we're not keen on this character, but we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
It is what it is, people. It's all about the month of
It
spooky. So hey,
is what
hit
it
me.
is.
It is what it is. Blue Devil as a character concept, awesome. We need deeper writing. We need that. That's all it is. Deeper writing, smoother transitions. And I think like he's joined Justice League Dark and Shadow Pack and so forth. And they try to really push him. He's not a traditional hero. Even he keeps saying in the comic book, he's like, I don't want to be a hero. He's like,
Right.
Blue Devil? No, my name is Dan. And even to the point where Superman says, no, you should use a superhero name. It's like, no, I'm good. Right. So if that's his outlook, let's write
Hmm.
towards that outlook. So here's my thing. if we had a fan cast this right now, Rod, who would you see it played, and how would you like to see it adapted? I know it's might not be much meat on the bones,
No,
but
no,
if
no,
we're gonna
yeah.
reboot it and do it,
Like I'm looking for someone because, like I said, I can understand that he is the one part I like about it is the not the comical aspect of it, but the levity. Like, he's trying to be like, oh my God, I gotta do this. Like, I guess it's up to me to save the day. It's not that he wants to, but he just has that type of, this is what I gotta do. And I'm going with a character that I mean going with an actor that I've cast him in some other stuff beforehand as well, at least once before. Um, I it's for that is that light, not lighthearted, but that type of whimsical type of banter back and forth. I know this guy can do this, so I like Robbie Amell.
oh yeah, that's your go-to guy, man. Yep,
That's
yep.
my go-to guy. I like Robbie, man. Robbie has that type of, he can make that jovial type of conversations, right? I can see him being like, yet again, you're looking for the common man, the common guy who's like, I'm not a superhero. I didn't come up um with silver spoon in my mouth like Bruce Wayne and basically got a tragic deed, and I can afford to go
Yeah.
on training and become someone different. I don't come from Themyscira that is a legacy type of God world type of thing. I don't coming from a planet like Superman. I don't have these. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Robbie to me could portray that type of guy who's basically been thrusted with great response with great, oh God, now I can't even talk because
With
I'm
great
just
power comes great
some
responsibility.
great responsibility type of scenario. And to me, he can take that on. Yes, he did that when he was on Arrow as well, but I'm not even focusing on that aspect of him being the hero because when he
Right.
was on Arrow, he was a hero. Sorry, on Flash when he was Firestorm, that was what he was. But I want him on here to portray that kind of guy who's like saying, I gotta find that balance of
Mhm.
being a normal guy who had, went to work one day, and then by the end of the day, I'm now working as a stuntman, working as an actor. That's out the door. Now I have this responsibility. I have these powers. I have these unique abilities. Like, I guess I gotta use them. I don't want to be a superhero, but I can't get this off.
I
I gotta
wanna
find the
be
mystery
a
to get this
hero.
off. So that's how I look at it with Robbie. So I want to Robbie Amil to be my guy.
All right, I got you. I got you. Okay, that makes sense. Now, here's why I look at it. The actor I picked, one, I'm gonna go with a date, live action. Give me a movie, right? It doesn't need me an ongoing series. Give me a movie. I think it needs a little bit of a very okay, first time you ever heard me saying this. It needs a little bit of a reboot. It needs a different kind of treatment, right? So,
Hmm.
if you look at Blade as a comic book character before
Okay.
Wesley Snipes got to him, and his whole production updated the look. The backstory was the same. All they did was update the look, gave the character a certain aesthetic, and made him fit and cool. Then that's what we got to do. So I believe Blue Devil will
Hmm.
go through the same thing. So it's not so much a reboot to redo anything. It's more take what's there, go a little bit deeper,
Yes.
do that 70-30 split like the Mummy,
Oh, 100
Brendan
percent.
Fraser Mummy, and go for it. Now, the actor I'm going with is the actor in my mind should have already been in the DC universe. He was portrayed by fans to play a certain character in the DC universe, and then
Okay.
Warner Brothers said, "No, we're going with someone different," and we like who they went with, but this guy would have been. So I'm going for Sean William Scott, right? Steffler from American Pie.
That
Mhm.
listen, I just started as a timeout. I just started watching going back Bulletproof Monk.
Yeah.
I just started that yesterday and I didn't get a chance to finish it. So I gotta go back and finish that tonight. But that's hilarious. And I'm like, wait a minute,
On
Sean,
Bloodlines.
hilarious. But yeah, okay.
Bulletproof Monk. rundown, goon,
He can do it. He can do that.
Oh, for sure. Because to me, by all rights, he should have been Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. Fans were saying, you want a Guy Gardner Green Lantern? It's Sean William Scott. It's Sean William Scott that should have been that Green Lantern. And they went with the guy who was in the Rookie and Castle. And
Yeah.
Right. No, okay, that's fine. That's still cool. But Sean William Scott, come on now. So let's go back for half a second. You give me the team that worked on The Mummy, the original one with Brendan Fraser, with the writer. So you bring me that writer, you bring me that director, say, hey guys, what you did for this, we want something similar to that. Even if they get compared, it's going to work. And you give them the source material and say, figure it out. We want a little bit more magic in there. They're going to go, okay, Sean William Scott. He's got the look. He's got the wit. Right?
Yes.
Okay, you didn't give him Guy Gardner, then give him this role and watch how he shines and makes, Blue Devil a whole different level. We don't need all the crossovers with Superman and Wonder Woman and, maybe a crossover with Etrigan, the demon, Zatanna, because they've never made their live action debut. If you do that, you're opening the world to something else. And if you want to really take it to the top for me, you bring back the actor that played Constantine in, the original series and the Arrowverse and DC Legends of Tomorrow. You bring me that actor and give me Constantine. Or if Hollywood really wants to, go with Keanu Reeves as Constantine. But give me Constantine by somebody. One of those two as someone trying to help him out. Okay. Boom. Sean William Scott is my man. That for sure. As Blue Devil, he's got the physique. He's got the athletic ability.
Okay.
He can do it. He can do it. That's who I'm going with.
Okay.
And I know we were saying, story-wise, like how the original comic came out. Well, it was the 80s. It was the 80s. And the 80s was fitting a sort of aesthetic in the 80s. But now, right, let's see. So you go and give me that team. That's the team I want. You give me the actor. We good.
Okay.
We good. John, call your agent.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, Sean.
Because it would be a different vibe because you're going to have a hero that doesn't want to be a hero. And you're playing it that way, right? Instead of traditional. I think Warner Brothers needs to do something to shake it up. We'll see what James Gunn does in the long run, but that's my 2 cents about it there, man. So yes, there we go.
Okay then. Good to know. All right, so that's good. Sean William Scott, and I got Robbie Amell. All right, cool.
Well, now for everybody out there listening and watching, please let us know what you think. We will put up a poll soon enough and let us know what you think about this and which way you want to go. And please forget to let us know. Send us a picture. Where's your favorite comic book store? Let us know where it is. As I said, I want to see comic book stores from all over the world, right? I've seen them in North America. I've seen them, but I want to see Mexico. I want to see comic book stores in Brazil. I want to see comic book stores in the UK and from Russia and Germany and Japan and Hong Kong. And, there's got to be comic book stores all over the place. And I want to see them. All right, let's do that, right? It's all about love and stuff like that. I ain't getting no politics. So let's just say comic book store from everywhere. Maybe if you're listening, send us a picture. You see our Instagram and all that stuff below. You can reach us by Instagram. You can reach us by Twitter. You can reach us on Facebook, our Facebook page. You can send us one on YouTube. However you want to do it, let us know. All right. Rod, any last words?
You know what? Making sure everybody enjoyed themselves. I hope you guys took away some good tidbits and what we were talking about. Again, like Barry said, it's so rare that we have a character we're like, but he has something. If it's just rebooted or just look from a different angle, just done something slightly different, it can still work. So Blue Devil is a very unique character, and he does have a place in the DC universe. He does have a place there that could be eventually used and be a gateway, like Barry said, or just showing people that it's not always about the fighting aspect of it. There's a different whole genre of the occult, of the mystic arts, and start to bring that in. Like we said before, I can't remember who we mentioned how Marvel is doing that with Strange, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
DC needs to start catching up and doing that. DC needs to start doing that and putting some live action. You do have Constantine, but that's it. But he's not a fighter. But yes, he does deal with the mystic arts and stuff along that line. You need some more. So this would be a very good yin and yang aspect of it to bring him in and just give him some kind of footing that he can be in between Zatanna, Blue Devil, Constantine.
Yes.
Estrogen comes in afterwards because we got to get that base before we get the estrogen. If you bring estrogen in right now,
no, you can't go estrogen yet. No, you gotta build.
That's
up
what I'm
saying.
They can't do that yet. You need to come with these. Blue Devil will be the very woo. That's different, but because of his levity, that he's not perceived. He's seen as being a Blue Devil, but when you hear him talk, he's like, "Oh, you're not demonic type of thing." Right? Okay, good levity. Bring it in, cool. Then we come in estrogen afterwards, and then like, they weren't ready.
Not at all. That's awesome. Cool. Well, as always, we say thank you for tuning in. This has been the iConis podcast. And as always, remember, this whole world was started by a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. All right, now, where's my trident? Because I need to get me some fish. Okay, see y'all later.